Chosen. Shit. Hey.
Yo, welcome to another episode of Two Paths Podcast, where you already know you got your main man, the postman, my main man, D-Rock, my other main man, LD. And today, we will be bringing a very special guest to you guys. But before we get into that, to all my non-subscribers but listeners, please go and subscribe to Two Paths Podcast at YouTube, at our YouTube channel. LD, let's get into it.
Our guest hails from Okeechobee, Florida. He's a graduate of Okeechobee High School and lettered in 3 sports. Did a 2-year stint in the Army. He's an all-around guy. He's an entrepreneur. He's the owner of Skips Trophies and more in the ATL. Passionate about the car scene. His goal was to make his mom proud and to give like-minded people an outlet to express themselves through automotive culture. His key message: don't quit on yourself. There is hope if you keep grinding. Your path will show itself when you're in position. His alter ego, Joe Rockhead. His nickname, known to everyone across the world, Skip, better known as John Williams.
Okay.
That's an open intro, boy. And listen, I feel like I wrote that myself. Appreciate you.
So yeah, man, welcome in, Skip.
Yes, sir.
Hey, nice having you, brother. Good seeing you. Been a real long time, but always great seeing familiar faces. So we're gonna get right into it. Let the world know and our viewers know who is Skip Williams.
Wow. Anybody from Okeechobee, around y'all's age, maybe 10, 15 years younger than y'all, they know my mother, Valerie White.
Right.
My grandmother, Maddie White. That was my rock. That's my foundation. So I grew up in a household with teachers. Both of them were school teachers. So my education level is higher than most. Now, did I graduate from college? No, but I had the knowledge too, and I just didn't. I took the wrong path, but I straightened up before I eventually lost my mother and my grandmother. But, I'm just, man, I'm an Okeechobee product. I am truly a product of my environment. I dibbled and dabbled on the wrong side of the street. I eventually came back on the right side of the street. I'm here now. I own a 2,700 square foot house. Been in Atlanta 20 plus years, making it. I've created something up here that's bigger than me. And I'm straight up, dog. I don't sugarcoat. I don't lie. I don't beat around the bush. I'm straightforward. It's yes and no with me. Ain't no gray area. So that's Skip.
Okay.
Hey, Skip. So how was that child like growing up for you in Okeechobee, Florida?
Well, I was born in the 60s. So
okay.
In the 70s, it was way more segregated than what you guys read. Okeechobee is 70-30 or maybe even 80-20 whites or black. It was worse then. So Douglas Park and Dean's Court was it. There was no, let me turn this volume down. There was no Dewberry Gardens or, all of the other places that blacks have ventured out to now. So we were pretty much put in a cocoon, and that's how we lived. Douglas Park and Dean's Court used to be like the gangs, so to speak. Right. You couldn't come over here unless you was over there for a reason, and then you left. And finally we understood that we had. So we only had one high school, so we had to interact anyway. So things started changing so much when the 80s hit, because every 5 years something new came about, so we had to adapt. So that's, how I can answer that question.
So sports. So at what age did you get involved with your sports?
Oh, wow. OCRA, Okeechobee County Recreation Association. I think my mother put me on the football. Here's an interesting story. Y'all know what Burger King is, right? Before there was Burger King, there used to be a Burger Queen. Burger Queen was the first football team that I played for, and I have a picture of me in the Burger Queen uniform. Biff Burger was another sponsor. That was, like I said, late 70s, early 80s. But anyway, OCRA recreational football is where I realized that I had the athletic gene in me where nobody was better than me on my age level. So that's where it started for me.
Okay.
Hey,
Go ahead, Bob.
And at that time, you had your physique was developed, differently. You know what I'm saying? Because the times I knew you, it's like you had a grown man type build.
I
Am I
did.
correct?
My father was 6'5". I'm 6'4.5". And I got his frame early. You know how you see some kids now, you be like, he can't be 12. I was that kid. I was bigger. So actually I graduated a year earlier than what I was supposed to because my mom was a teacher and I got at school. So I fit right in with the guys that were older than me because I was their size. So yeah, that frame I had, I didn't, well, how you want to say it? I didn't mature like I was supposed to because I was ahead of where I should have been as sports wise, because I got 10 times better after I graduated. And my coach Delagal, Tony Delagal, say, man, if you'd have did this when you was in school, we'd have won the state 5 times. You get what I'm saying? But my maturity was on path, but I was just ahead of the path, if that makes sense.
So in the environment that you grew up in, as far as your house, were there any brothers? Were there any sisters? And then how did that impact your growth and now moving you forward into your life?
My mother had 4 children, boy, girl, me, Candace, Butch. Most of y'all know him as Butch, but his name is Clifford, and Sharonda, who I think graduated with y'all. With Dimitri, I know, but I'm not sure what year you came out, LD. But I was the oldest, so it was, hey, make sure your sisters and brothers do this. The dynamic was, if they did something wrong and I was there, I got in trouble for it. You get what I'm saying? Because my mom was a single parent, and she left me strict instructions. They're gonna do this, but you need to stop them. Blah blah blah.
Left you instructions.
Right.
And I know those.
It was the dynamic was, I didn't have, and I hate to say it this way, but this is the truth. I didn't have ghetto parents. My mother and my grandmother were my foundation, were my rock. They both had stature in the community and with the white community. It's also because they were teachers. So it was, I know what I got, as far as parents. So I got to make sure that I don't embarrass them. And it wasn't in my mind that I was going to embarrass them, but I knew right from wrong early. And I never put them in a situation where I'm gonna beat your ass because you didn't do what I said. Now I got a lot of whoopings, don't get me wrong, but it was from, just childish, stupid stuff. But that's what it was with me and my foundation and my whole life.
Which one of your brothers or sisters impacted you the most, or the one that you was closest to, or the one that gave you the best information about how to move your life forward?
Well, I don't think either of the three, because we're all 2 years apart. So I'm the old. By me being the oldest, I don't think any of those three impacted me or influenced me to do something right or wrong. It was my job to make sure that they didn't. You get what I'm saying? Now, who I was closest to was Candace, the one who's 2 years younger than me. She was a super athlete for the females. Like she played basketball, she played softball, and she wanted to play football, but my mom wouldn't let her. So her and I would go out to the basketball course and take on any 2 people because they felt like, oh, that's a girl. But if they left the step off her, pow, she was killing them. So she was the female me, but meeker and then a female. So that was who I was the closest to of the 3. But I loved them all the same. They just were younger and they had to stay home, so to speak.
Hey,
So being 2 letters in 3 sports. Go ahead, Coach. My bad.
Well, just to elaborate and then go straight to you. She was the one that first, he says about his sister, right? She was the first example of me seeing a female that can hold their own against a male, and inside and out. You know what I'm saying? Like she had that toughness. You know what I'm saying? Like that go getter. Like later on in life, we seen how college basketball players, how they are now, and they can whatever. But she was the first example that I seen that a female who can do it. I mean, we'll get busy, you know what I'm saying, like on that level. And at the time, and see what you know now of her, and I ain't saying that in the bad thing. I just want to elaborate on that. It was beautiful as well. It still had a girl stature, you know what I'm saying? And go ahead, Sarah.
Real quick, A lot of people don't know this. Candace ended up going to the streets following me, which I had no idea she was doing at the time. And she got a record, but she got out, and her basketball acumen, her skill set was still top notch. She actually made the Orlando Miracle, what's the WNBA team in Orlando? She made the team, but her record stopped her from going any farther.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? So this is how your past impacts you in a terrible way when you don't realize you're tearing your future down right now because you don't try to think forward. But she tried out for the Orlando Miracle. Me and my mom would take her every week to the practices and the trials, and every cut she made, I was like, my sister gonna do it. And they told us, we want you on the team, but. And we never told anybody that because it was a black eye or a blight because she didn't have to do what she did. That was a choice she made all on her own because, fast money makes your eyes big. But that was, this is some of the stuff that happens when people be like, man, why didn't you? But she did. And I can tell that story now because we're all grown and everything, but she actually could have and would have played in the WNBA had she not made the mistakes she made in our past. So, yeah.
So you lettered in 3 sports, Skip.
Yeah.
What 3 sports were they?
Basketball, football, and track. I didn't letter in baseball because I was told by my coach, my football coach at the time, that baseball was taking away too much of my stamina and my time because, the throwing, and it's a different kind of shape you have to be in for baseball than football. And they were almost intermingling when it came to spring practice. So
which one did you enjoy though the most out of all the sports that you played? What would you say would be the sport that you fell in love with?
Football. And the reason being is because everybody my age, I was bigger than them and I dominated them.
You had to be you had to have a certain toughness to play football versus basketball, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But see, now my era is, how they talk about LeBron's era is soft in basketball, according to what Jordan came in the 80s and then on before him with We were, that's how everybody played. We were physical in everything we did.
Okay.
So again, by me being bigger and have a bigger frame than people my age, I always played an age up.
Yeah.
I never played the 6 or 7. When I was 6'7", I played in 8 to 10 because number one, we didn't have weight. You know how they have weight limits now with recreational football? We didn't have that. We had age group. So if I was 9 foot tall at 7 years old, I played with the 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
But my mom wouldn't let me play with those kids because I was hurting everybody.
So you like the physicality of football?
Yes.
Okay.
Ronnie Lott was my everything. When I saw a guy that it didn't matter what happened, I'm gonna put this helmet on you. Hey, we were taught to tackle with our heads and necks back then. We weren't, it was shoulders, but you lead with that head because you're gonna stop everything you hit. So yeah, I was running. I was a safety in high school. When I graduated high school, I was like 200, 205.
Woo!
Hey, Skip for the record now. For the record. Because they already know I'm going there with it.
Okay.
You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do right here. All basketball players are soft. All basketball players soft.
Who said that?
No, I ain't say they soft. I said
He said like that. He said like that.
It's a level of toughness that you need to play football versus basketball.
No, it should be no different. And the reason being, from my era, all of those same guys that played football, he played football, Robin played football, so they had the mentality already. It's just that in football, you're allowed to make contact when you really don't have to. In basketball, you have to curtail that because of the whistle. So every play in football, there's violent contact. Basketball, you can't have that. So when people say he's soft, no, he just don't want to tear his head off. Like, Troy Harper, right? Troy was a man-child compared to Meatball in high school. He was he was real strong and thick. So when they gave him the ball and he drop steps, he cleared the lane out like Shaq. So, when people say it's soft, it's a different sport.
Mhm.
You know, I think the toughest athletes on the planet are hockey players.
Mhm.
You think about that. They could drop their gloves and fight to drop of a dime. Now, don't get me wrong, football is what it is, but it's going to be flag football before long.
Mhm.
The way they changed all these rules.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but no, I don't see basketball players as soft. Now, maybe now because everybody cries about everything and they want to shoot threes now versus posting up or shooting a mid-range jumper or throwing the ball down low. But no, y'all's era, no. I followed them everywhere. I went everywhere they went. I was there as if I was a coach because I
Hey.
love the sport and I wanted to promote them, you know, as best as possible.
Back on the football though, tell us about some of the you mentioned about the schoolhouse, those games that were played right there in front.
Okay. Like I was saying earlier, the schoolhouse, if anybody from Chobe that sees this, when you look at the schoolhouse now, that big brick platform that's out there, that used to be a 2-story building.
It's not
And
out there no more, bro.
Oh, it's not there no more. I haven't been to Chobe
No,
in years.
Right now, I refer to like the parking lot.
Oh, okay. That's right. It is a parking lot. I do remember that. But if you come out of the double doors from the building where they have all the events at, from
Mhm.
that little cabana right there all the way down was a 2-story building. And history lesson, like I said, that used to be the black high school back in the 70s. Chobe High School, they were segregated. So that was our black high school until 74-ish, 75. So there was a 2-story building there.
2-story, right?
And a beer company. I'm sorry?
Yeah,
You
2-story building.
Yeah, it was a 2-story building. It was 2 stories. Had stairs on both sides and in the middle. The typical 2-story brick building, but a beer company bought it, rented it, and you know how you take boxes now, you can fold them up, you buy them and they come flat, you have to fold them up. They had pallets on pallets on pallets of beer boxes that were flat in that building. They stored them there. That was like their warehouse. All of us, me, Frank, and Neil, all the guys I'm telling you earlier, we would go in that building and get those boxes and fight with them like frisbees. We would do the top against the bottom. You know, the middle had a choice to go with the top or with the bottom. The best athletes to come out of Chobe all came from the bottom or the middle area. Frankie Neal was born in what we call the middle. Gene Harris and Gerald Fleming. I can't think of some right off the top of my head, but they were from the bottom. Lyman Smith, super athlete. Y'all know of Lyman. He was a hell of an athlete. He only ran track, but John McNeil, all these guys, all these people, it's a lot more, and I'll think of them as we go, but we used to have fights, the top against the bottom, and then the middle decided what side they were going to go to, and we were fighting well into the night until it was time for us to go home. So anyway, back to that story. The building was 2 stories. It was brick. And where that parking lot is now, it was all grass. And that was our football field. And the one thing I learned from being bigger, faster than everybody my age is you don't run beside that building. Because all it takes is a forearm shiver or a push and you hit that concrete out. So by me playing with older guys, Emmanuel Sappho and Frankie Neal and all them, they would put me on the right side close to the building. I said, man, I'm not running no fly straight by this building. And you know, me wanting to show that I belong here, I did it. And I wish Frankie was here. He would tell this story. Frankie say Skid Row. He used to call me Skid Row instead of Skip. That was just how he talked. Skid Row. You better not kiss that ball on that side. Because to me, he wasn't a super athlete. I was just as good as him in my mind. I knew he was better, but I caught the ball on the sideline and my eyes got big. I'm like, I'm finna go across the middle and let Ed Barrett and all these big old monsters tear my head off, or I'm gonna try to dodge Frankie from hitting this building. So I decided, let me run down this thing. And he took it easy on me, hindsight. But instead of him hitting me and knocking me into it, he grabbed me by my shirt and pretty much brought me to a dead stop and slammed me into the wall. Boom. Oh, thank you. That's what I said. Because he could have killed me on the wall. So that was the toughness that we had to grow up with older guys. So, yeah. But I got a lot of stories, man. I don't want to take up your time. So
coming from that structured,
yeah, go ahead, Larry.
Coming from that structured household, being in charge of your brothers and sisters,
Mhm.
and then before or now playing sports. So how did you end up in the street life?
Stupid choices. I went to the military straight out of high school.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I just didn't have nothing to do. I got to the military and I had the attitude of people that were older than me because everybody I hung around was 1 to 2 years older than me. So when I went to the military with the attitude of, I'm here, I'm going to try to retire from here, but you can't do this to me, you know? So I did my basic in Columbus, Georgia and Fort Benning. And you know how they give you the dream places you want to go? I picked Germany. I picked Hawaii first. I picked Germany, and then I picked, I think, Korea.
Mhm.
They sent me to Hawaii.
Mhm.
So over there's nowhere to train. So everywhere we had to train, we either went to the Big Island, which was all rocks, or we went to Japan, Malaysia, Panama to do all our training. And we had a first sergeant. He was quote unquote Uncle Tom ass nigga. That's just what he was.
Right.
Old school, had been in the military 20 plus years already, and the white man was king to him because he had made it as high as he can go as an NCO. He was a first sergeant. Well, he wasn't going to go no higher than first sergeant because he didn't have it here. But long story short, you know, when first lieutenants come out of college or whatever, they come in as a second lieutenant rather, come from OCS school, and they come in with everything by the textbook. So having had been at my base forever, we did things a certain way. So when he came in, we're going to stop this. We're going to stop this. I was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we still did what we were going to do. So by me being a squad leader, the first sergeant came out and said, y'all get out of attention. There's Lieutenant on one today. Yes, sir. No problem. Yes, Sergeant. No problem. Out of all the people there, he walked up to me. I was a PFC then. I think I was E3. He goes, Williams, why are your boots not shine? I was like, they are. They're not shining to my standard. I was like, I don't know what your standards are. Get out of attention when you talk to me. There's 1 or 2 ways we can do this. You can talk to me and I can answer, or you can go over there and get one of the robots. I'm not a robot. I was wrong by military rules, but I'm still a man. So he was like, you get out and give me the push-ups. I'm like, this ain't PT. So they locked me up. You know, instantly, boom, gone. Busted me in rank. And now my wheels are spinning like, oh, if this time I'll be treated, it's time for me to get out of here. I fuck the military, excuse my friends, but so now I'm whatever I can do to get out. That's how my mind is working. So I went through the CCF, Correctional Custody Facility, pretty much jail in the military. They busted my rank, they took some money, and then when they sent me back, it was like nothing had happened. But in my mind,
Everything.
F all y'all. Yeah, I'm whatever I can do to get out of here. That's what I'm gonna do. If it's time to go to the field, I'm gonna go to sick call and get me a pass or whatever. And they recognized what I was doing. And it was, you do this, we're gonna bust you again. I was like, okay. And the next time y'all bust me, I can get out on a medical discharge. So it's up to y'all. So they wouldn't do it because they knew I was serious. So my 2 years was up. I came home, and I guess the street mentality that I saw growing up, it came to me, okay, what are you going to do now? And I honestly, truly, and people won't believe this and I don't care. When I got out, I went to the post office. Military veteran, that's a shoe-in. Didn't hire me. This is Okeechobee.
Mhm.
Now, this is 86, 85-ish, 86. Because I graduated in 85, but I went in the military in 84 on the what do they call it? Meet your help me out. What do they call it when you enlist early?
Delayed entry program.
Delayed entry, yeah. I went in on that. So when I got out, it was go to the post office. My mom took me. Never called me back. Walmart was new then. Went to Walmart. They never called me back. The county jail, where the tag office is now, that used to be the first county jail. It wasn't that big, of course, but that was the county jail. I went up there and applied. They were building the jail now. Well, I heard y'all got a new one now, but they were building the jail that's there now. And I applied thinking, I'm in the military, they're going to bring me right in. Never called me back. Again, there was no black cops then. There was no black COs or nothing. But I feel like the military record is going to get me in the door. It didn't. What was left? Streets. Like I said, I talked to you earlier, Marvin, was out there. That was my classmate. That was my ace. My funny story, my mama told me, say, "Mama on that shit. You need to talk to your friend." Cause he was always skinny. But when you don't see a person for a long time, you be like, that boy's skinny. But he was always that. So me being a big friend, big brother attitude, I said, man, you own that shit? And he'll tell y'all this story. He was like, what you talking about? I said, man, my mom told me you own that shit. He say, no, man, your mama tripping. He say, I'm out here hustling, getting money. So a couple of days I'm hanging with him and I'm watching. You know, I'm watching 30 minutes time, you make $200. In the 80s, $200 was like $1,000. You get what I'm saying? You could buy whatever you want. So I'm watching this. I'm like, man, how you do that? He's like, man, this. And the Haitians used to sell, you know, what we needed. Cheap, and you cut it up and go make your money. Like, boy, I'm gonna do that. Hey, look, that looked too easy. Not thinking about all of the negative stuff that come behind it. But that's how I got in the streets. And that's what, I guess, kind of where my detour went, if that makes sense.
So your your mindset didn't really shift because you was already a dog. You already grew up with a will to win, or a stamina that said, you know what, I can't stop, I got to continue, right? Or I got to keep going. So you went through high school and you played sports, and that was in you. And then, but now after sports, now you were seeking something else, found the military. And then after you found the military, y'all collided, butted heads because of the dog in you.
That's one way to put it, yeah.
Butted heads. So you came home, but it wasn't a loss. It's just that you knew yourself and you knew how you needed to be treated, because you don't even treat yourself like that. And plus, you was the one that took care of your sisters and brothers, and you was responsible. So you didn't need a guy in your face telling you about responsibility, because you already knew what responsibility detailed. You come home and then you say, damn, ain't nobody trying to give me a shot. I want to do something. It's in me. I can't sit down. And then you get with some fellas and you say, wow, they are willing to show me how it's done.
Not necessarily willing to show it, because I asked him. It wasn't, hey man, come on, let me show you something. Here you go, use this. It definitely wasn't that. So I don't want to put that narrative out there.
But they was willing to teach you and show you.
It was, man, show me this, what you doing. You know, it wasn't no, and we were the same age, so it couldn't have been where, hey man, go take your ass somewhere else. What an older person would have done. You get what I'm saying? In the streets. It was, okay, dog, well, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it took off for me. So yeah. Everything you get up to that part, 100% accurate.
The other part of that, you know, just kind of sum it up, because like during those times, right? And it's kind of prevalent to today. In the town that we grew up in, there's no jobs for us like that. And you get, and to go forward with the military, right? You would think, right? Because the American dream and how they had the commercials and the veterans, how they support the veterans and all the stuff that they say, right? But they're saying that in reference to a white veteran for them. And I'm saying it, not saying it on a racist tip or whatever. I'm telling you, just explaining the truth when it comes to the veterans. I'm a veteran. He's a veteran. And when we go through this, right, that's when we see the unfairness on the outside of the military, because we see the phoniness in the people, and it's real prevalent right here. And I'm not saying this as a movement. I'm saying this in the point of what it needs to really change, because to this day, right, when we go out there to get a town, they won't hire the black person that's from here. And you can go to school, high school, you can get a job, you can go to college, get a perfect degree, but you're going to have to go somewhere else to be successful as a black person, because they're not going to hire you because you're so much of they look at you so much of a threat. They look at you like you're ignorant. They look like you can't get the job done, and you're just as professional as they are and more. And they'll put their labels on and everything. They don't believe in the change. So that's how I want to clear that up for what you were saying, because it's more to that. Because he's coming from
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He's coming from a mother and a grandmother who's real prominent and that we looked up, the whole community looked up, that she was that person. You hear me? So it's not like you can't, the reference and the character and everything they check out. If something happened in the neighborhood, they would call her and get her opinion on certain things, so they can spare us with that stuff. And that's why a lot of us young males, black males who grew up in these particular neighborhoods had the result to get money a certain way because you're blocked out of everything else.
That's right. You summed it up perfect. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not in Chobe now, is I knew I couldn't get a job to sustain a living. You get me wrong? You think about it. Majority of the people y'all know in Chobe right now, they go to Palm Beach to work. They go to Fort Pierce. They go to Fort Lauderdale. I'm not going to make a 30, 45 minute trek one way, hour and a half a day driving just to get money to come back to a town that's really it's not a poor town. There's a lot of rich people there, but I got to live like I'm rich, but I got to go 100 miles away to work. So no, that was once I've decided, get off this path and go over here, I got to get out of Chobe first.
Now, when did you decide to stop the game and now to move to something different in your life?
Okay, quick story, long story, but I'm a squeeze.
Do your thing.
When I went to prison for the third or fourth time, it was for drugs, and I had a trafficking charge, but of course my lawyers got it down. I met a guy in prison. His name was Tip. They called him Tip. Same height, same complexion, and we just hit it off in prison. We played basketball together. We played chess together. We did everything together. So everybody assumed we were related. I might have been a year older than him. I'm not sure, but we did everything together. Same dorm, everything. He and I would go to visit every weekend. My mom did not miss a weekend, rain, sleet, snow, whatever, she was there. And his mom was the same way. Now, he had a life sentence for murder. I had, I think, 8, 9 years, whatever it was. It wasn't a long time because the parole system in Georgia and Florida at the time was you get a third knocked off your sentence as soon as you get it, and then you get game time. You get free days as long as you don't stay in trouble. So a 9-year sentence could actually be done in 8 to 10 months. So I was looking at maybe a year and a half if I stayed out of trouble, major trouble, and I got out. But of course, I got in there with that it's me against the world attitude. And I fought in the beginning. I got in trouble. Then I realized I'm going to do these whole 9 years. I'm going to straighten up. But by that time, they had sent me to a maximum security prison. So now my outlook changes because these guys got life sentences. They'll kill me in here. Not that I won't defend myself, but I'm not going to aggravate the situation. I'm not going to pester them like I'm an asshole, and I know it. But I'm not going to mess with these people because they ain't got no daylight. I call it daylight. You can't see your end date. I could see mine. So it changed my outlook. But this is what stopped me, what made me go on the straight and narrow. Tip and I would go to visitation every Saturday and Sunday. His mom, my mom. We started sitting at the same table, so his mom and my mom became friends because every weekend we see each other. There was a thunderstorm, real bad thunderstorm. So we called, say, hey, mama, don't come up here this weekend. She said, you don't tell me what doing wrong. So lo and behold, his mom, my mom come. We sit down, we have a great visit, whatever. They go on back home. Now, I was in Hardee, which is maybe 45 minutes, Hardee County. I was in Hardee Correctional, which is a maximum security prison. And it might have took my mom 45 minutes, maybe an hour to get home. So we went back through from visitation straight to the dorm. He and I are now talking about, visit, blah, 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 blah. In an open bay dormitory, it's just a flat building with windows and bunk beds. Like it was a 30-man open bay dorm. And we see officers running across the compound. So everybody that had drugs or knives or whatever started scrambling to hide their stuff because we feel like there's a shakedown coming. So when they come, we were like, they coming over here. So it was like 10 dorms on this compound. They ran in there and the first thing they said, where's Skip at? What do y'all want me for? Now, I ain't never did a drug in my life. Never took nothing outside of prescription. Didn't drink that much, but I did drink, but it wasn't to excess. So when they came in, where's Skip at? I'm like, I just came to visit. I don't know what y'all talking about. Come with us now. I ain't did nothing. Y'all gonna lock me up. this is my attitude, because I was cool with those officers. They were like, Skip, listen, come with us now. We got a problem. Okay. So instead of walking across the compound like you would do if you're in trouble, they were running. So I ended up having to run with them. I'm like, what the fuck am I? We get back up to the visitation pod, and instantly my bell started going off. Hey man, if y'all found drugs in here, they had nothing to do with me. Oh, no, just listen. And the chaplain comes out of his office. I'm like, what? What's going on? He's like, Mr. Williams, sit down. I don't want to do nothing. What's going on? Man, your mom was in an accident. My mom just left here. Yeah, she got in a bad accident on the way home, and they're at the hospital. I was like, man, give me your phone. You can't tell me nothing. I don't want to hear that. Give me your phone. The lieutenant hand me his cell phone. I called my mama's cell phone number. She picked up. She said, hello? I said, Mama, this is Skip. She said, why you? I said, I'm talking with the officers here. They told me you got an accident. You okay? She said, yeah. I said, you mother. And I said, crackers, you crackers trying to set me up because you know I'm finna go off. With your mama, ain't no gray area. You just 0 to 1,000. Well, why would y'all do that to a man? They looked at each other. They said, it wasn't Skip. It was Tip. We all run back off the compound. Now I'm running like I'm an officer. We go back in the dorm. I say, Tip. He said, man, what you told them folks? I said, dog, just come with us, man. It's bad. We get back up there, and sure enough, it was his mom. They gave him the cell phone. He called his sister. She said, I'm on the way to the hospital now. I'll call you back at this number. Now, I'm standing there like I'm an officer. And he just instantly broke down like we would all do. And he had a murder charge. I told y'all this. He had a life sentence. So they weren't going to let him go to the funeral. And he snapped out. I'm talking about, y'all ain't going to let me go to the funeral no way. So he started swinging on all officers. I got to get back, because if I try to break it up, it's going to look like I'm fighting them too. They lock him up. My mom done turned around and came back to the prison. She tell them, they just told my son I was dead. He need to see me. So they bring her into the visitation pod. We were still there. And she stopped him and said, boy, stop. Your mama wouldn't want that, like mamas do. They handcuffed him, taken him to the cell. And she tells me, son, I'm okay, because I'm still upset because that's your heart, your mama. Anyway, she leaves. I go back to the dorm. I tell the people in the dorm what happened, that Tip ain't coming back. They put him in confinement. I forgot. Yeah, but it's another word for it where you got to be there for 6 months to a year.
CM, close management.
CM, close management. They put him in CM. And how would you know about CM? Okay. But anyway, so the next weekend, my mama come up. I said, Mama, do me a favor. Stop coming to see me every single weekend. She looked me straight in my face, LD. She said, stop coming to prison. I said, okay. Phew. Instantly, all of that street life left me. When I got out, like I told you, let me go do this. Instantly.
Right.
Sharonda was still living in Daytona because she went and graduated from Bethune-Cookman. So my mama say, son, you can't work here. We already tried this. You're going to end up back in the streets. Won't you move with your sister and help her with her bills? I left Okeechobee, went to Daytona. Me and Sharonda became roommates. I got a very good job. We chilling, we vibing. 4 months later, I met my wife. We've been married now 23 years. We've been together since 01. We've been married 23 years. So yeah, that's what got me out the streets. Because I didn't want something to happen to my mama because of coming to see me for doing stupid shit, which I knew I was better than. Cause I saw what it did. That would have crushed me if she died coming to see me because I didn't have to be where I was. So that was the instant change for me, the instant stop for me for the streets. I lost a taste for it after that.
So with that being that turning point or that pivot in your life, now moving forward, leaving Okeechobee, understanding that you can't win in that environment, and going to Daytona and actually meeting your wife. Now, like, how has that been for you?
As a man, and everybody's definition of man and how men should be and what the standard is different. But as a man, you want or you need a companion that matches you, that can be that calming force. So when I met her, I knew, coming from the streets, I always got the woman I wanted. Always, because it wasn't no more than physical for me. And hey, I had her, bragging rights, so to speak. But meeting her, it was like, I want her. I like her. It was just the aura, everything about her. And she was one of the ones, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, here, take my number. I don't want your number. Because if you call me, I know you're interested and I really got a serious shot. She called me later on that night. And from that day in 2001, January the 21st, we've been together. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Appreciate that.
That's something.
So now,
Hey,
so now you in Georgia, right?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been in Georgia?
Since 2002. And here's a quick story. My wife worked at Bethune-Cookman. She was my girlfriend at the time, and she was the bookstore manager at Bethune-Cookman College. I was working at an electric company installing ceiling fans, lights, and everything in houses. That's what I was doing. And that was paying back then in 2001. I think I was making like $18 an hour. So great job. She got transferred to Spelman up here in Atlanta. And we were serious committed at that time. I was like, well, okay, hey, got my 2 weeks notice, I'm moving. My brother was up here doing construction. So I got family here. I got it in. Carnell Boswell was here. Nene from Trouble was here. So there were family, people that I was familiar with in Atlanta. So when she got here, of course, I couldn't work for her because nepotism. This is super professional now. So I went straight into construction with my brother and it took off from there. Like we blossomed. It was the American dream for us. I lived in an apartment for like 3 years and then we bought a house in 2006. So yeah, I've been in this house almost 20 years. So yeah. But that's how the transfer happened from Daytona to Georgia.
And just for the record, y'all used to build houses, right?
Yes. We owned a company called Tree Block. His wife at the time's maiden name was Colbert, Colbert. So we spelled it backwards. Tree Block. That was the name of the company. And I want to say, and this is no exaggeration, he and I have built 80 to 90 houses in the 5 years that we were a construction company. I'm talking about 2-story houses. Well, it's not a lot of 2-story houses in Chovy because unless you go way out, but for anywhere from 1,800 feet to 3,000, 3,500 square feet, we were building these houses in 3 to 4 months. And we had investors snatching them up because they were taking them and renting them out. And in certain areas, they were instant Airbnbs. So my brother was a legitimate millionaire. And when I say legitimate, he had it liquid. He could touch it. It wasn't all invested. And, when the economy hit in 2008, a lot of stuff still had to be paid, but wasn't no money coming in. So that's when we decided to dissolve the company. And, he did his thing and I went on and started working at what is now Georgia State, but I started working at Georgia Perimeter College. And I stayed there for 6-7 years. And then, of course, Last Hired, First Fired came about. So, yeah.
So,
Hey, and this, hold on, Larry, let me say this. It's funny because, right, seeing now what you're saying and understanding coming out the military after doing 2 years and bumping heads with them, but coming home to a place where your mother and your grandmother were prominent figures in the community, whites and blacks, and you had no luck with getting a job. So your only out was going into the streets because you didn't want to be a dependent upon them, but you steady trying. You trying your hand at different things, but to go from there and then move to Daytona and eventually moving into Georgia and blossoming like that, that goes a lot to say with what you said earlier, as if sometimes you have to leave from where you come from. You got to leave the nest in order to be everything that you need to be for yourself, because you're going to be condemned right here in your own hometown, or you're going to be looked down on or boxed in or whatever the case may be. And And I just want to tell you, congratulations on that journey. You know what I'm saying? And I know, you know what I'm saying, that you're still continuing to build and build and build more and more as you continue in your life. So getting away from Okeechobee and being able to see outside of that, because I too had to leave Okeechobee in order to see outside of that. I too had to find my wife outside of Okeechobee and allow her to, hey, what you used to, it ain't this. You know what I'm saying? That ain't this and this ain't that.
Right.
But I can see some in you and allow me to help you pull that out of you. And it's crazy as it may seem, some of our stories coming from there run so parallel. We go in the streets not because we have to, but because we make a choice. Man, I want to try my hand at this because this shit over here ain't working, and I'm tired of this not working.
Right.
So now you being with the car, doing the things with the cars or whatever, and tried your hand at entrepreneurship. You get a taste of relief, right? You can say, all my life, all I want to do is just make my mama proud. But now you can look, when you look yourself in the mirror, you can say, I know my mama be proud of me. And that's one of the best feelings in the world right there alone. Go ahead.
Right, I'm gonna give you something, and this is emotional for me. Like I said before, your mother is your soul. And when I realized I made my mother proud, I was working at Georgia Permanent College. The college professors, I ran a bookstore and I ran an online center where we sold all the textbooks, and I handled all the online students, like 400,000 students, because Georgia Permanent had 5 campuses across Georgia. So when my mom came up here to visit me and my wife, we were married then, she was like, I want to go to work with you. I'm like, okay, cool. And it just so happened that day I had to sit down with professors to figure out which version of the textbooks they wanted to order, because a lot of professors like to teach out of the older books. But the newer books had that same stuff along with new stuff. So it was my job to make sure I ordered the right books for them, because some of the teachers always want the newest edition of everything. But with new comes expense. So I'm sitting down with these professors and I introduced my mom, and what blew her away was college professors, 6-8 year college degrees, doctorates and all that. They sit down and they talking with me, Skip, Joe Rockhead.
Yeah.
And she,
Lady 10.
when we went home, she said to me, she said, that's my boy.
Mm.
Get them chills again.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know the gravity of what she was saying until she died. Every single teacher that she came in contact with, once she left from up here, she bragged about her son went from the streets to the college. With a record like his, they gave him a shot and he did it. All of the teachers that interact with her on a daily basis came to me when me and my wife and my sister went up to the school to clean her classroom out. And they sat me down. They was like, so you're Skip? And I'm looking at them like, do I know you? They're like, no, but we know you because your mom bragged about you every day about everything. She told us about who you were, what you were doing, and for you to be in the position you are at a college from where you came from, and college professors were talking to you like you were on their level, which in a sense I was, because we had to work together. Your mom was so proud of you. And it just crushed me. Because I remember when she said, that's my boy. So, yeah.
That's deep.
And Miss Vac, she had a lot of impact on a lot of people, because I went to school with his younger sister, Sharonda. and same classes and everything. So it's like the competitive nature, they already had, they was already built a certain way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Athletic and smart, like that real true student athlete type thing that was going on. And me and Sharonda went to Bethune-Cookman together. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We still was tight, you know what I'm saying, from growing up, because we were the same age. So believe me, I understand this story.
Yeah,
Right. So,
and
you
not
know, like
just
I said,
that,
I'm an open book, and I don't mind what
even because it's crazy, right? Me and my grandma was just talking about Ms. White about 2 weeks ago, and driving the mission van, picking us up to go to church, and all these different things, right? And me and Skeeter was like really close. So when you say student athlete, he probably the best baseball player that I've ever seen. He played basketball and football as well, but baseball was his sport. And I remember, man, like Miss White running down on me and Skeeter and really like just getting in our chest. And she was very impactful. You know what I'm saying? She was very impactful even with the after school tutoring programs and everything that she did. And anybody who she put her hands on in a spiritual sense, you know what I'm saying? She always meant them well. And she will get physical if she tell you to do something more than once. You know what I'm saying? But she was just a loving and a caring individual. You know what I'm saying? So so when you was just having that moment, I get it, because I went to actually remembering different moments that I've had with Ms. White. You know what I'm saying? And how important she was to just the community overall.
Yeah.
So with that, Skip, now you into the car world. Tell us about that.
Well, Meatball touched on it in the pre-show. I always had a car fixed up with loud music in it.
Mm-hmm.
There was no big car scene when I was out there in that world building these cars with music and everything in them. And when I got here, I started seeing in different spots people that had that same passion I had. I had a 64 Chevrolet Biscayne, which is built like the 64 Impalas, but it was just a different brand, like how you have Mercury Grand Marquis and you have Crown Vic. Same car, different name. And when I got up here, I had music in it, and a guy passed me with music in his car, and I followed him because I want to talk to him. Hey man, where y'all hang at? And that's exactly where he was going. So by me having a Florida tag, I instantly got out. Hey man, you know, I'm new here. What's the hangout spot? Where y'all go? What y'all do? I said, man, this is it, Gresham. Every Saturday and Sunday is where we hang at. Police don't bother us nothing. And I started seeing more and more people come out, and there was no structure. So I would say, hey man, why don't we go over to the drive-in, which was a huge, if y'all remember our drive-in, how big it was and flat. This drive-in held like 500 cars. But it was a flea market on one half, and then the other half was just parking lot. So why don't we just go over to the drive-in and hang out? That way we ain't got to be bunched in. If y'all want to do burnouts, we got places over here you can do burnouts where it's free and clear of everything else. And people started to follow me. Like everything I suggested, it was like, okay, let's go do that. So I'm like, okay, I got all these people following me. I got to make sure that I don't lead them wrong. I don't put us in a place where the police can bother us and everything. And this girl named Almond, her nickname is Almond. Her first name is Ann, but they call her Almond. She said, Skip, you ought to start an organization. I said, for what? She said, they follow you anyway. Let's try to get these people, because we had what we call swerving at the time. And swerving was where if I saw LD in his car on the highway, he could have his wife and kids with him. I see him and I swerve in front of his car, slam on brakes. Dangerous. Because he don't know it's coming. But when he recognized it was Skip, oh, you got me, you got me, you got me. That was one of the things everybody did, and that was super, super dangerous. So I started what's called the Atlanta Car Club Community. And everybody that was in the club, if you wanted to join, it's a circle. And when you join, you came in with the understanding that Car Club A is going to support Car Club B. They had an event, you're going to support them, and it goes in that circle. So when it's your turn, all those people you support are going to support you. And they were like, oh man, we can do that. I was like, but ground rules, no more swerving. No more doing burnouts in public areas like Publix parking lot or Kroger's parking lot, which are our grocery stores up here. And he was like, okay, but where are we going to burn us at? You can do them wherever you want to do. But if you're going to have this logo on your car and people are going to start to recognize it, you can't do that because you're going to diminish what we're trying to do. And everybody bought into it. I'm talking like 300-400 people. So now I'm the face of it. So I have done interviews with mayors and city councilmen here, had car shows for them and everything, because every time they saw something, they were like, hey, we want to do a car show. Who do we talk to? And they send them to me. So it started gradually growing with, man, Skip is going to give y'all the blueprint. We're just going to follow it. And it was amazing how everybody just gravitated to me because, number one, I don't sugarcoat. I don't lie. If I tell you that, stand on it. Because if I can't do it, I'm going to die trying. So that was my mantra when it came to this car world. And even to this day, people will call me and say, hey, man, I want to do a car show. Can you tell me what I need to do first? First, go get a permit. Second, find out they sell liquor there. You know, blah, blah, blah. Because these are what your participants are going to want. They're going to want a bathroom. They're going to want access to alcohol and food. If you got those three things, they'll stay. They'll pay to come. So just me giving them tidbits, I got people calling me from the Carolinas and everywhere, man. Hey, we want you to host our show. How much you charge, et cetera, et cetera. So it grew from that.
Hey, Skip used to come through with the 15s in the trunk, you know what I'm saying, with tweeters, you know what I'm saying, coming through banging.
like what's his name? Barrett Collier? Is it Collier Barrett with the truck with all the loud? See, we didn't do all the loudspeakers, which is the big thing now, called loud packs. We didn't do that. It was bass. You can hear bass a mile away, but see, bass don't aggravate your ears like those loud tweeters do. But we shake the walls when we go by. So that was my thing, the bass. And Jam Pony was the junk then. So, you know, it was always JPE down the street. He's seen a lot of my vehicles. Matter of fact, he got to drive one home.
We're having the impact that you have had in this car culture and with the people around you. Who has impacted you like that?
As far as the car culture or as far as life?
In life.
The car culture,
Who impacted you the most?
Meatball, I'm sorry. Dimitri, you will remember this guy. Oliver Spears.
Yeah.
Oliver used to have a 77 Grand Prix. Yeah. And back then, 6x9s were the subwoofers. And he had like 8 of them across the back deck of his car. And the more speakers you put together, the deeper bass you get. And Oliver lived right behind my mother. So every day when he cranked his car up, I'm like, oh boy, that's Oliver's car. I run out there and see it. And Oliver was older than me. Come on, man, let me take you for a ride. And it just blew my mind. Like, oh, this is it. When I get a car, Radio Shack was a thing then. That's where you got all these speakers from. So I went straight to Radio Shack, found out what the price was. I'm gonna get me one. It's just in high school in my mom's car. So she had a 81 Grand Prix. I think it was 80 or 81 Grand Prix. So I bought 2 realistic 15s, free air subwoofers, put them on a board, put them in the back seat. When she let me drive, I put them on the back seat, hook my amp up. I'm riding out. She don't. When she got the car back, I would take it out and give her a car and we go home. But Oliver Spears is really the person that showed me this is something to do that don't bother nobody outside of the aggravation when you ride by their house, but it's just you riding by. You're not standing there aggravating them to no end. So that's who got me in the car culture, who started me into car culture. And then when I started going to Miami and Lauderdale and seeing different things, I just kept it. And it created that plan in my head that one day I'll do this and I'll create a car club. I never expected it to get where it is here, like it is now, but it did. And I'm proud of it. So yeah.
Hey, Skip, I'm proud of you too. And what you was able to do with where you came from and all the adversity that you faced getting up to this point. When did you know that you had some entrepreneurship in you?
I always knew it. And well, I guess I always knew it. When I got in the drug gang, I went in with the attitude, I'm smarter than all these dudes. I'm not going to run cars. That's how you get caught. I'm going to sell to y'all and y'all run the cars. Now, of course, that blueprint had already been laid everywhere else, but not in Okeechobee, because everybody ran to the cars because they wanted all the money. And that's how the police caught you, because you were being greedy, and they sent an undercover out there and you had no way of knowing because you want every dollar. So I didn't see people actually getting busted when I first came in, but I kept saying, I'm not going to be jostling with y'all for $10. And again, back then, $10 was a lot of money. So I'm going to get that same drug you got. And once you sell out versus you going out of town to get it, you come buy it from me. And these were older gentlemen. Hey, skip man, well, I heard you got, yeah, I got it. What's it? Well, why you sending for that? Because you ain't got to drive out of town. The same money you spend to drive out of town, give me that extra money. That's why mine costs more, because convenience. And they were like, damn, that's smart, G the Bug. So that's where I knew the entrepreneurship started with me, because I figured something out that in that area, nobody else did. So when it came to the good side, I already had it. It was just applying it, number one, and understanding what I was going to do, number two.
And then when did you discover your trophy company?
Oh, interesting story. When I started back in 03, 04, when I started with the car scene, when they would do car shows, they would have to go all the way to Buford, Georgia, which is tantamount to driving from Chobee to Lauderdale, just to get trophies. And trophy shops, anywhere you go, they are fairly spaced out. They're not like gas stations on every corner, because the industry is so small, but high schools, recreational leagues, and intramural sports are the only thing that need trophies. And once they lock in on LD, that's who they deal with. So having that competition means nothing if you can't break that barrier. So rather than drive all the way to Buford, Georgia, I asked, when I went up there one day, I asked him, I was like, man, we paying you all this money. You can't meet us halfway? Nope. So I was like, I'm going to start my own trophy company. So every time we would go, I would come up a day earlier so I could watch him make the trophies. He was like, why you here, Skip? I was like, because you teaching me what you're doing. He was like, you going to start your own company? I was like, that's the plan. He would not give me the information to find the trophy warehouse. So the streets in me said, it's right there on his desk. Click, took a picture of it. Went back home, called him, found out what I need to do when I got my LLC, went up to him. And for people that don't know, when you have a business and you buy wholesale, a lot of wholesale companies will make you buy in. Like you got to spend $3,000 in order to get all these discounts up front. At that time, I had no idea how I was going to sell all these trophies. So me spending $3,000 just wouldn't work for me to have all this product, and I bought the wrong product. So I told him, man, I was like, look, I'm just starting. This is the reason I'm doing my trophy business. If I can get you to waive it, and I guarantee you within 3 months, I'll spend that money, but I can't spend it all at once because I don't want to buy the wrong product, and there's no refund on it. He said, you know what? That makes sense. This is what we're going to do, Skip. I'm going to give you 6 months to spend $3,000. But if you don't, I'm going to expect that payment in order for you to stay with this company. All three of them are the same way, and all three of them gave me the same exact answer. So in a month and a half, I had spent almost $10,000 with each one of them because my guy was better than the guy in Buford. And then they didn't have to drive an hour and a half to go get the trophies. And you could sit down with me and I could tell you, or you could tell me exactly what you want and I can make it. So then I had to go get the equipment. So this is one of those things where I told my wife, hey, this machine costs $10,000. We can finance it, or we can go on our savings and buy it. She was like, oh no, we financing it. So I have two laser engravers actually, which both of them together are like 20 to 25 grand. So when you go to a trophy shop and they have all that machinery in the back, I got all that same machinery in my garage. So I'm a legitimate trophy business, licensed and everything. There's nothing a regular trophy shop can do that I can't do and I won't do quicker. And my how I draw people in is I will beat any brick and mortar trophy company's price by 10% for the exact same thing. Because since they're so spaced out, the markup is 300 to 400%. If it costs me $5, I sell it for $40. That's what trophy companies do. I sell mine for $20. I still got a profit, and I'm cutting theirs out. So the competition is not there. I know what it costs, but like how gas stations are, when the price changed, all their prices change across the board. So now you just got to pick which one you like. And then you might see that one that's 5 cents cheaper. And what you do, you get what I'm saying? So that was my way of getting my business like it is. And as you see in the background, these are a lot of the trophies and stuff that I built. And my wife's dining room is my showroom. I have, like I said, this is 100% crystal with the blue base. I engrave it in that. And yeah, I got stuff everywhere. So there's nothing I can't have.
Trophies and more. Go check it out if you're in Atlanta, Georgia. I got a personal question for you.
Ready?
So when I was younger and I used to live, we moved to Douglas Park.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to see that green and orange vehicle. And that's how I knew that was you. But I still didn't know you at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But ears don't lie, right? So every time I would hear you at the basketball court or around, I say, man, that dude, I don't know how to describe. You was the first that I ever seen of your kind, because you could be flamboyant, you could be angry, but you could be nice and kind. But the one thing that I always remembered about you is that you was always fair.
That's my mama. That's Valerie. That's it. And my grandmother and my mom were completely different people, but the same. My grandmother had the attitude was, I will kill you before I let you disrespect me. And he know I'm not exaggerating when I use that word. But my mother was, I'll beat you up real bad before I let you disrespect me. But this is what I'm going to give you. This education. I'm going to beat you in the face with this education. Then I'm going to beat you with this knowledge, and you're going to respect me. And she got it. So I saw that every single day growing up. But then I also saw Maddie White where, and this is no exaggeration either, she could leave her front door open and come to Atlanta, Georgia, and nobody would go in her house. They could see the front door open and know she out of town. They wouldn't break in her house. That was a reputation my grandmother had. Like Maddie White will shoot you. ain't no she gonna play in there, tell you what she gonna do. Everybody to a person, the white people included, knew Maddie White didn't play. That's why she retired from teaching, because it got to the point where you couldn't discipline the children or you couldn't talk to them a certain way. And then the rednecks and some of the kids that were more spoiled started barking back at her, and she had no recourse but to call the principal, and then they pacified them. So she retired because you're not going to disrespect me as a child. But those two people molded me. And I have that fire that my grandmother had, but I also have that everything else that my mother was, and I combined the two and I made them work for me.
Miss Barry looked, I think she had the ability to look through your soul.
Wait a minute, what? She looked through your soul? Because you knew what was there. You knew she would beat you. You knew she could teach you. You knew she was going to lead you the right way. I don't believe that what Miss Valerie said. I don't think I ever heard a person say, I don't care what she say. It was like, Miss Valerie said that, okay. Because they knew it was from a good place and they knew it was right. And I had all those same things, but I just decided the honoring me, the mean me, the stupid me, I'm going to go over here and apply all these things to these streets. And it worked for a minute, but again, you know how stuff works. Life works. But yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, growing up, man, to have guys like him, Marvin, Bron, and Frankie and all that, those are my things to look at and motivation, man. Like they going to the games, they're encouraging you, they're telling, and you talking about support, like they're willing to put it on the line for you.
Yeah.
Like you're a product from where we came from and we know what you can do. You play with us grown people. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't every time if I looked up in the stands, I know I'm gonna see them. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt. Huh?
I knew what he was gonna be. I knew what his capability was. I knew how his parents raised him. Where and I hate to use this term, but you gonna understand what I said. Where some parents fall short, when the kids leave the house. I was that parent out there. Now, get your ass out over here. Come on, let's go to this basketball court. You know, and then when I saw how good he got in such a short amount of time, and Robin, his parents wouldn't let him leave. He lived right down the street from the basketball court, and that's as far as he could go. So when he did come, it was like, damn, them boys good. Okay. When they got to high school and I started hearing about how great they were, they wouldn't let me come to the practices because I wasn't in school. But everywhere they went, I'm there. And that kind of support is what I think is missing now, because children need to know that they're impressing somebody or they're showing you what they can do or what they learned. And he didn't have to do anything different but be Meatball. That's his nickname, his old nickname. I don't know if you still go by that, but he had to be himself because he knew I'm betting on him. I'm screaming. I'm screaming for him. And, you know, his father couldn't go all the time, but when he did go, he was right there with me, you know, and this, my child is like it's yours. He's part of my fabric. So yeah, that was my main reason for doing it. Cause I didn't have that like that. Now don't get me wrong. All of the D boys and all of the older, when we were home games, fill the stands, you know, they were there. But what about when they go out of town?
Yeah.
I probably get on the highway. I'm going with them.
Let me bring light to that, because I know what you're saying. You don't want to say it, but let me say it.
Okay.
During that time, my dad was on drugs. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have that support. You feel me? And matter of fact, he went to one of my high school games and he was on drugs. Now, it's not talking bad about him, but that's what it was. But I had other people in my life, right, that kept me going and kept that support. So I didn't really sit there and hop on, such and such income, this, that, whatever. In a sense, like you look back at it now, he had to go through what he had to go through. And it's not for me. I'm raised just like Skip. I was the oldest. I had the responsibility, so I was prepared for battle, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's like my dad always told me, and nobody gonna give you nothing in life. You got to go out there and get it.
Sir.
You're a man. You know what I'm saying? You got time to be crying and all I'm saying, being this, that, whatever. Like you got to suck that stuff up and figure it out, because life is for real. It ain't easy. So I got to prepare you for life. So things, you know, in those instances, Skip, Pro Fella, the other guys I looked up to were that figure in my life. And I was smart enough in a sense, just like they were, to understand what right and wrong was, you know what I'm saying? And things that were available to everybody out there to live. And so that's why, in a sense, that's why I look at the things that I look at life the same way to this day. You know what I'm saying? And I knew what right and wrong was, and they helped keep me away and make sure that I didn't fall victim to that, because they had that much love.
Right. Exactly. And it wasn't me trying to be a father figure. It was me being support more than anything. Because like I said, when you're home, the stands are filled with everybody. Everybody you know, everybody you see, even people you didn't know because they live way out, they were there for the home games. But by me having went through what he went through in high school, going out of town and nobody being there but the enemy, so to speak, I wanted to show them that I'm gonna scream just as loud as the rest of them. You get what I'm saying? So do your thing. I got you. So when I realized how good they were, I'm telling you, man, if they had 100 games a year, I wouldn't have had to sell drugs. I was winning so much money with them guys, man. It was crazy. When they lost, I wasn't mad because I knew they were going to lose back to back. I knew they weren't. I knew it was a very good team that beat them, number one, or it was some stupid mistakes. But like I said, that squad y'all had, yeah. I saw him, you know, so yeah, but anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now, this is good, because so his generation looked up to, and, you know, you and your support, and then my generation looked up to him and his support. Right. So this is a beautiful.
The difference is, I ain't had nothing else to do. You get what I'm saying? I was out there in the streets. So all my time was whatever I wanted to do. And no knock on, he had a life and he was creating a life for himself. He went off and, you know, military and traveling and doing everything else. I was home. So in my mental process, it was, let me go support these cats. I'm in the streets anyway, so let me go root them on. Win or lose, I was there. I followed Sharonda in basketball and softball because when they played the same time at the same places, I was always there. But if it was a conflict, I went and saw my sister versus them because I knew what they was going to do. But it was more of letting them know that somebody got your back. And then again, the leadership entrepreneurship you were talking about, Ed Water and all the guys that were in the street started following me. So when we pull up with all the D-Word cars, and all loud, money, jewelry in our pockets, and we going in the game. We here for Chobe. So they had that entourage, so to speak, with them everywhere they went. And I think that helped them too.
We step into the gym, they say, hey, I got $1,000 on Chobe, my team. Can't nobody beat him. Put down.
That's it. Just like we shooting dice.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Skip.
Yes, sir.
Question. So my generation looked up to Demetrius' generation. Who are some of the people that encouraged or inspired you during your generation?
Charles Grant, nicknamed Bozo. He was me. I didn't recognize him until he got himself clean, but let me give you a short story on that. Him, John McNeil, Todd, I can't think of Todd's last name. They're from Bradenton. Browdy, when that is them people. Lyman, Lil John, all those guys are older than me. They were in the streets before I was. But Charles Grant was older than them. He was from Buddy Johnson, Buddy Urich, that era. When my dad, and he got shot in his leg. And I don't know if you remember when he used to walk, he couldn't bend his leg because he wouldn't have the surgery on his knee. So I was like, why that man walk like that? And one day I built up the courage to ask him, and it was kind of disrespectful the way I did. But again, I'm straightforward. I say, Bozo, what happened to your leg? Ain't none of your goddamn business. Now, he had that reputation of, he a bad motherfucker, regardless of what's wrong with his leg. This is before he got on drugs. So when I got of age and got out there in the streets, he was out there bad. And he came to me one night. I won't say 9 o'clock at night. He said, Skip, I got $40. So I go in my pocket to give him drugs. He said, nope. Give me $20 worth of drugs and keep the other 20. And I'm going to come to you in the morning and I'm going to be clean and sober and I'm going to ask you for the $20 back. Yeah, okay. I gave him the $20 worth of drugs. He gone by his business. I watched him all night. He going to all the other dealers. Everything he can get, he getting it. Man, 5:30, 6 o'clock the next morning, he knocking on my door. I look out the curtain, I see it's him. I said, hold on, man. So I put on some shorts and I grab the drugs. I go to the door and dump it in my hand. He said, what you doing? I said, man, you know you left that $20 with me. Like, man, I came for them $20. Okay. From that day to the day he passed, he was clean as a whistle. He stopped cold turkey. Now, me knowing who he was before he got on drugs, what he was when he got on drugs, and then saw what he accomplished after he got off drugs, role model. Lots of people's role models have to be rich and famous and whatever, but that guy had all the knowledge I got plus some. He was just as gangster as I was, if not more. He fell all the way off into the gutter, and it wasn't a tragedy like it was for me that caused me to stop, that caused him to stop. And I tell anybody that'll listen, that was my role model. I told him 2 or 3 different occasions after he was clean, I said, big dog, you my role model. Man, what you talking about? I said, bro, and I broke it down to him. He was like, damn, I didn't even remember all of that, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Sylvester, who runs the car wash, Seal. He was like, Skip, man, you noticed all that? I'm like, yeah, I noticed it all. So when people say, who's your role model? That's him. And the only people is from my hometown is going to know who he was until I tell the story. But yeah, that's what it was for me. You know, that was my generation that I looked up to.
And I was telling him when you got off, I was like, I want to add to that because him and my dad used to be best friends at one point. You know what I'm saying? And they still, they used to go back and forth with their little stuff, but like he would also talk to me, you know, just like, you know, if you got a best friend, he also knows to talk to your kids and every, you know, say whatever. So we had our individual relationship outside of him and my dad. And when I used to come home, I always stop by and talk to him and get a word. Or sometimes we'll call on the phone. And this is going on for years. You know what I'm saying? Come back, we lift weights in the back, you know what I'm saying? Chop it up. We talk about health things, this, that, whatever. And talk about other, you know, like my other players, he used to tell me, he said, man, you the slimmest person of y'all group, man. Yeah, what you doing different? I said, you know, I always, you know, health conscious, this, that, whatever. And we'll bounce things off, whatever. And this went on all the way to his death. You feel me?
Yeah.
And he'll tell, now, sometimes I ask him a question about history of things, he'll give it to you real. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, you'll hear the other story, but the part I know of him, you know what I'm saying? Even though when you out there dimming down and stuff that you don't supposed to be doing, like, and they get back to him, he gonna check you. Or he'll tell you to go check somebody else. Say, hey, man, your homeboy over there doing X, Y, Z, you know what I'm saying? You need to holler at him, like, how you know that? He said, but you go execute, you like, it be right on. And you know, he ain't sending you on no, that people talking, you know, whatever, the lies and all that. It's gonna be straight up. No chase. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I loved about him. You know what I'm saying?
Real dude.
And we're gonna look you right now and tell you what it is.
Hey, Skip,
100%. Yes,
one of your goals was to make your mom proud. Do you think you achieved that goal?
I know I did. Like I told y'all when I got emotional earlier, when we left that college that day and she said, that's my boy. In my mind, this is what she envisioned of me before all of this. So, okay, I got it. And like I said, it didn't mean that much to me until after she passed and all of her, what do you call it? Your not constituents, the people that you work with, what do you call them?
Colleagues.
All her colleagues. Skip, your mom's so proud of you. And then they started telling me stories about what she told them. And I'm looking at them and here come the emotions again. But I'm like, damn, I did it. You know, I did it. So yeah, it was that I knew I'd done it. I felt like I had achieved it when I, number one, got out of the streets. But for her to see the position I put myself in, that's when she was like, okay, that's my boy. But it made it even more prevalent in my life when all those people that I didn't know heard those stories from her. So yeah, she was proud, and I know I did it.
Your message: don't quit on yourself. There is hope if you keep grinding. Your faith will show itself when you're in position. When did you come up with that message, and like how did that message also influence you?
When when I got shot, this was a bullet hole for people that don't know. I got shot in the head. I've been shot 3 different times, but this was the most. We'll go into that if y'all ask that question later. But after I got shot, my mom flew up to where I was. I got shot in Virginia. And she would always say, this ain't you. Hey, I'm going to get these dudes, you know, in my mind. I said, but this ain't you. And you know it. That's all I could say. And that's all she would say, this ain't you, this ain't you. So after I got out of the hospital, I went from like 230 to like 170 because my mom would let them give me a blood transfusion because at that time people were getting HIV from that in the hospitals. So my body had to build it back on its own. So I was a frail skeleton, so to speak. So I came back home and her and my grandmother was sitting down and they were talking about somebody from their past. And my grandmother made that statement. And I thought she was talking to me. I was like, what? So I'm not talking to you. But it just resonated. When you're on the right path, when it's time for you to get it, it'll come. And when I say meeting my wife was the catalyst for all of it. Because had I not met her, I never would have came to Atlanta. You see what I'm saying? Had I not met her, I never would have found my soulmate. You know, we can all say, I think that's my soulmate. But she'll tell you from the day we met, we've been together. And that's something that where it wasn't generated. It was just that. It was it. You know, anyway, I ain't gonna go too deep into that, but it was one of those things to where it would, you know how artists like Prince will say, man, I keep hearing this song in my head, but I can't get it. That statement was there. And once I got to where everybody would call me for advice, everybody would call me asking me to come help or host or do whatever, it was, okay, this is my path. You'll hear preachers and people that's deep in the church say sometimes, you're going to be a preacher one day because everybody listens to you. I used to hear that all the time. I felt like the church ain't my path because without getting too into religion too much, a lot of that is bullshit, is fodder. The Bible can be interpreted a million different ways. You can read it, I can read it, he can read it, and we're going to come up with 3 different interpretations of it. So who's to say you're right? And preachers have the nerve to say, I talk to God, like can't nobody else talk to God. But we ain't going to go into that. But that's one of the reasons why I would always say, the church ain't for me. Because I feel like you have to lie to get people to follow you. And I don't want to do that. When you follow me, you gonna know, if he said it, that's what he mean. That's what he meant. That's what he gonna do. So yeah, that wasn't my path, but it came to me and I realized this is what I'm supposed to do. And in the 25 years we've been here, probably done 15 funerals of close friends. And each one of their loved ones had me speak at their funeral because I knew them from the street side, the other side. And not when I say street side, I'm talking about the car scene side or just out in this Atlanta world. Cause I never did. Once I was finished breaking the law, I was done with it. No more, nothing. So yeah, that's pretty much what it was. That's when I knew that statement came about. And that's when I realized I was applying it when I got here.
Hey man, that's why I grew up on those bases right there. Like if I told, the realness and the straight up and that and that's how I am to this day. I was like, y'all can be in your feelings, but like this is what it is. I'm gonna tell you what it is. It may be hard for you to digest it, but I can only be me. And I can only tell you the truth. Now you've been dealing with some other people lying and all that such stuff and trying to save you for your feelings. Okay, but don't be calling me rude and don't be calling me all this shit because I'm giving it to you true, raw, uncut. I shouldn't have to sit here and tell you, oh, it's going to be all right. Nah, it ain't going to be all right, man. You fucked that up.
Now, but you know what
you're going to do about it? Just on you, but like, this is what happened. Oh, why you had to say it like that? What you mean? Like, what else was said? Sometimes you're not going to do everything right. You're going to mess it up. All right?
But you know what that does? When you hear it from your mom and your daddy, that's what they supposed to say. That's my mom and my daddy. Yeah. But when I hear from LD, I know what you got up here. I know what you possess. I watch your videos. I see you. So I know it's from a good place and it's from a pure place. So if LD say, man, get excited. What you doing? You need to do this here. You got to be excited about it. I listen to you. So I'm like, hey, I get it. But see, you're talking to the internet. When it's homeboys, when it's Dimitri, when it's my younger siblings, I tell people all the time I curse, but I curse for a reason. I curse with a purpose. When you put a prefix on something, it gets your attention. Like that's Mr. Rouse. That's not Rouse like he was in the military. That's Mr. LD. That's LD. You get what I'm saying? So when they call me Mr. Skip up here, it means something. So example, hey man, don't touch that. Hey man, don't fucking touch my phone. It hits. He meant that. So why you had to curse? Because you got it. Mm-hmm. If I say don't touch it, you won't hear it. Like the parents say, stove hot. Well, I'm gonna let him burn itself. Hey, don't touch that fucking stove. Oh, you see what I'm saying? Straight to the point. That's what they mean. And that's what he's talking about when he was coached with the children and all that. He was able to get to them because he didn't go around the corner. He went straight across the street, right in your face. And that's what works. And for some reason, these new age parents and this new way of parenting is taking all that away and making our kids, I hate to hear a child say why. Kids can't ask me why. If I'm taking care of you, take that out your vocabulary. Now, not in all instances. Hey, I need you to go get that schoolwork and I need you to redo it. Why? God damn it, I said redo it. If I'm telling you to redo it, it's a reason for it. It's wrong. You're going to go fail. why to me is what adults ask adults. I don't need to explain to a child. And I catch people all the time explaining. Oh, well, baby, the reason I said is this. No, I said it because I said it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
But that's my philosophy. I don't push it on nobody, but I give it to you. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I thrive off that philosophy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It works.
100%.
Hey, Skip, man, we
Like I
appreciate
said,
you coming on the
yes, no
podcast.
break.
We appreciate
Yeah.
the wealth of knowledge that you've given us, and we appreciate hearing your story. And I know this is not all of your story, but in a nutshell, you gave us what you
Yeah.
could give us in the time that we was permitted. But your story is eye-opening because you could take somebody that comes from a small place. Doesn't mean that they're small, but they're the seed
Right.
in that place. And as they continue down their path, that seed starts to get watered and that seed starts to grow. And then you end up like the oak tree that you are today, provide now shade for individuals that are like-minded through the car culture, providing trophies to your to the car club members, and also devoted husband to your wife. And you learned all these things by not picking up a book, but you learned these things through raw, unadulterated experience that led you now into this place to where now you can come back and give us the keys to how you did it. Now we can glean from you and now say, okay, this how Skip did it. Now I can now go past this info on to now the people in my generation. So I appreciate you, man.
There you go. I appreciate the interview, brothers. I appreciate all the questions. And like I said, if y'all want to have me back, that's cool. But my wife and I have already subscribed, and we will be watching from now on in the future. So I also do 2 podcasts. Also, I do a sports podcast on Monday, a car club podcast on Thursdays. And I will mention this podcast, especially for my people at home that watch it, to try to get y'all some of my listeners and people that are in the area that is going to tune into what y'all guys do.
Hey,
So
shout
that's
out
what
the
it's
podcast one more time. What's your podcast so people can go visit you on?
On Monday, it's called the Fifth Quarter Podcast on YouTube. And we have a website called Atlanta Cast Network. That's where we have a host of different podcasts up under that banner. Fifth Quarter Podcast is me and 2 other guys, or 3 other guys, whenever he's there. But we talk about the happenings of the sports of the past week. We talk about everything sports. I actually called Dimitri, a couple of years ago. I think it might have been Super Bowl or something we were talking about. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to call my homeboy. But he was watching the game. It was a Laker game, I think it was. But whatever it was, he was busy doing it and we couldn't get a full interview. But that's what that is. And we're open. We talk. We actually answer our questions on screen. And we get that back and forth. And we're all armchair quarterbacks. So we're talking about our experiences and what we see as far as the sports go. That's on Mondays. On Thursdays, I do what's called the Atlanta Car Cast. We have 2 women, 2 men. And we talk about the car scene from a woman's point of view, man's point of view, my point of view. And then all of our listeners will tell us, hey, what about this? And we'll interact that way. We've interviewed the general manager of Cadillac, who just came up with all this new technology inside the electric vehicles that Cadillac come out. We've interviewed the regional manager of Chevrolet, who actually came up with the concept for the Camaro. We've interviewed Super Bowl champions that are now in the business world when it comes to cars and everything else. So it's everything car related in Atlanta and abroad. So yeah, those are my 2 podcasts. Atlanta CarCast on Thursdays on YouTube and Fifth Quarter Podcast on Mondays at 8. Both of them are at 8 on YouTube.
So I'm talking about.
Yeah. And now I'm with the new path. What is it? The path? The chosen path? The two
Path Podcast, TWO Path Podcast.
And and check it out. You're one of the examples of 2 Path Podcast because we come from 2 different backgrounds and 2 different knowledges and experiences that blend at one, and make it beautiful.
Okay, that's what's up. That's a good information because my wife put in 2 paths and a bunch of stuff came up. I was like, nope, put podcast behind it. It popped right up. So we instantly subscribed. So yeah, there you go.
path.
Appreciate y'all,
Hey,
man.
appreciate
And
you. Demetrius, appreciate
congratulations to
you.
y'all too.
Y'all have a great day, gents.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.